Well, Andrew Scheer is with me now. Mr. Scheer, good to see you.
Great to see you too.
Mr. Speaker, I guess we could say use all those
Speaker
things.
Emeritus.
Speaker Emeritus. Is there one of those?
I don't think so.
Maybe, okay.
I made it up, but I'll go.
All right. What's your message been to party voters in the last few days? The balloting's all pretty much in. What have you been telling people as the clock ticks down here?
Well, obviously the last few weeks is a big component of getting the vote out. That's been how I've been spending my time over the last few weeks, calling supporters, making sure our team is getting identified supporters to actually fill out the ballot, mail it in, or in some cases pick it up and drop it off at the center here. But the message really hasn't changed. I believe the party has to consider two main things. The first is which candidate can keep our movement united, and the second is who can take our message and bring it to a broader audience of Canadians. We can all say things that will make everyone in this room very happy and resonate with them, but if it doesn't go beyond that into a broader audience of Canadians, we won't win the next election. So that's where I believe my strength is.
What's the challenge on the unity front? After this weekend, what's the challenge for the leader?
Well, I think there's always a natural challenge after any leadership race for any party. There's always, factions develop. People support one candidate and not another. And over an 8-month campaign, in the heat of the battles, things get said and decisions are made. So there's always going to be that natural process for any leader to say, okay, let's all come back together and focus on the task at hand. But the Conservative movement always faces a greater challenge, and that's finding that common ground between all the different kinds of Conservatives. So beyond just after the leadership race, going the next 2 years and beyond, keeping everyone together is always a challenge for Conservative leaders, and that's a strength I believe I have.
I mean, everybody's done, to some extent, people have done polling, trying to figure out where do you think you are here? Everybody's talking about Maxime Bernier as the front runner. Do you acknowledge that? Do you think he goes in as the top choice on ballot one, at least, and then what?
Based on what we're seeing, I think it's he's run a very good campaign, and he's certainly one of the front runners. He's certainly going to be very high on the results on the first round. Right. But as you know, in a preferential system, that's not the essential question. It's who can garner the most amount of supports into each round. Right. And I believe that's where my advantage comes in. If I'm not first on the first ballot, I believe I've got a good chance of overtaking Maxime at some point after other candidates drop off.
So if you do win, do you tell Maxime Bernier to stop peddling his ideas of dismantling supply management, of getting the federal government out of health care? What role do you take as a leader then with someone like that in the caucus who doesn't have a whole lot of caucus support during this leadership race and has what he describes as libertarian ideas that a whole lot of caucus members clearly don't share?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that there are a lot of members of the party that do have libertarian leanings and would like to push some of their ideas in a more assertive way. And my message to everyone who ran for the leadership is I want to take the best of your ideas and run with them, and let's focus on the things we can agree with. Supply management is an issue that the Conservative caucus and our members of the party endorse and want to protect. Maxime doesn't, but he wants to get rid of corporate welfare, as do I. Our Conservative party policy says, we need to get government out of picking winners and losers. So that's the role of the leaders, to say to Maxime and other candidates, there's great ideas that you have that enjoys broader support amongst our caucus and our movement. So let's focus on those, not on the issues that divide us.
He seems, I spoke with him earlier, he seems to be fairly malleable in that position, for instance, on supply management. He says, look, it's got to go through the party members. If the party members decide they don't want it, then I guess we won't do it. His job is to try and sell it to them, but if they don't want it, he won't do it. So what do you think of that position? I mean, he's got an idea, but he seems to understand that if the party doesn't want it, the idea dies.
One of the things I believe in the most when it comes to debating politics is that you should be able to articulate anything you believe in. Maxime was free to do that. He has done that. It has attracted some support for him. It's also alienated some other members. So he'll have to figure out if that was the right thing to do. I think ultimately Maxime has run a logically consistent campaign. He follows a libertarian philosophy consistently. So I respect him for that. But I think
would he be a problem as a leader?
I think it would be difficult for some of his ideas and some of his policy proposals to keep our party together. He would have to find out how to do that. He'll have to answer that question better than I can. I know that the policies I've put forward in my campaign enjoy broad-based support. I want to remove the GST from home utilities. I want to scrap the carbon tax. I want to balance the budget in 2 years. These are all things that all Conservatives can get behind, and I think that's better for a leadership for someone in a leadership position.
Could you serve under a party led by Max Bernier?
I've always said I'm not the type of guy that picks up their marbles and goes home. I believe in this movement. I believe in the party. I saw what it was like when we're divided. I was, originally a member of the Reform Party and Canadian Alliance, and worked on the United Alternative campaign to bring everyone back together. So I will do whatever I can for the rest of my life to implement conservative policies and ideas.
Could Maxime Bernier talk you into supporting the dismantling of supply management?
No.
And what about other members of caucus?
Well, he'll have to. I don't know. I can't speak for them.
Okay. Do you think? Let's finish on this. You've said before. You've told me that you think a party led by you can beat Justin Trudeau in 2019. Can a party led by Max Bernier beat Justin Trudeau? I know I'm talking about other candidates.
I know. Max was already on the show. I'm sure you had an opportunity to ask him these types of things. I believe I give our membership and our caucus the best chance to beat Justin Trudeau. I'm from Ontario originally, but I have a seat in Saskatchewan. I can bridge that east and west. I'm young, but I've got a lot of experience in the House. I've served an executive level of authority as Speaker of the House of Commons, and I've always had the ability to articulate what Conservatives believe in a positive way that attracts broad-based support. I took the seat, I won Regina Capel from the NDP, but held the seat for over 30 years. So I've got that track record of being able to change people's minds. And ultimately it's up to members to decide if they see that in me. I believe it's true about myself, and I've been trying to convince them for the past 8 months, so we'll see what they decide.
We'll see how it worked. Andrew Scheer, as always, thanks.
Great, thanks.